You already know what it is, man. We talking that devil talking this thing, bro. Let's talk. Hey, let's talk. Hey, let's talk. Hey, that boy begin. That boy POT on that devil. Hey, let's talk. Out the devil team, you don't talk about
let me get him. Fresh about a Marietta, Powder Spring Road. Run away from Louisville, Baptist Roosevelt. Every Friday night, can get popping like the Christian did. Coming down that walkway, paying respect to Big Ben. Started in 67 when they integrated Lemon Street. The victories continued on behalf of James Richardson's feet. The legend they call Friday, planting seeds, took boys off the street. Big E and POT came to speak that history. This tradition paid attention, discussing the game of inches. Scholars that make you holler, gangsters from off the beaches. Legendary reporter, bro, these men came out the trenches, giving ears out to these airs, and they name we ain't gon' mention. You know what's up when you step inside North Cud, man, them boys go whack a nut. Running up, that's how we get it in. Yeah, we talking devilish, straight about the devil den. Middle fingers twisted down, throwing up the lead on him. Yeah, we begin the POT, begin the POT, begin the POT. They came to talk. Hey, let's 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 talk. Begin the POT, begin the POT, begin the POT. They came to talk. Hey, let's 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 talk.
talking that devil talk shit about the devil team, you know what I'm talking about? Yo. The boys up in this thing acting a fool with that thing, man. You know what I'm saying? The middle finger twist, man. Making up that deal, man. So excited to sit it out. We're talking legacy, bro. We're talking tradition.
Hey, it's them wrestling boys, POT and Big E, and we're here to bring you another episode of Marietta Football Legends. What's going on, bro?
My brother. Hey, bro, how was your vacation, bro? Welcome back. I know you fresh off the boat.
I needed it. It was beautiful down there, man. Especially Sarasota, man. They got so many nice beaches and stuff. It was beautiful down there, man. The weather was nice. But you know, anytime I go out of town, though, man, after about 3-4 days, I'm good. You know, there's no place like home. Not gonna compare, contrast, you know, because totally different vibe, totally different, and you know, it was a vacation. But definitely beautiful down there, though, man. I have no shout out Daniel Benton, the Benton family. Addie Shay Benton turned 5 years old, so that was the primary reason why I was down, and that was part of her birthday gift was Uncle Pop to come down. And you know, and his daughter Aubrey and all that. Everything was cool. You know, even got to see Caleb, his oldest son. It was cool. It was cool. Glad to be back, though.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, man, glad to have you back. While all of us were at work and, you know, taking care of our responsibilities and stuff, you know, you were out on vacation, man. Congratulations. But anyway, hey, man, we're back with another episode of Marietta Football Legends, and every guest on this show is special, but this one is super special. She was the head athletic trainer, Miss Kelly Sabiston. Let's bring on in. Hey.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. It's great to see you.
Good. Good to see you guys too. I'm really excited to be here.
I feel like you're supposed to be over there wrapping somebody's ankle right now.
I did a lot of that. It was fun. Yeah, that was good stuff.
Well, look, it's doing rehab now.
Right.
Yeah, rehab still can dole out the rehab. I still can do. I got the skills. Yep.
Well, it's so good to have you on. Let's get started. Just go ahead and before we start talking about the main reason why you're on here is the time you were at Marietta. Just give us a little background of what made you want to get into sports medicine and where you went to school, and then we'll get started.
Okay. Well, in high school, I was an athlete, so there were no athletic trainers around. Really didn't even know what they were, but I played field hockey and I did gymnastics, and I went to this field hockey camp. I got my junior year or something, and I hurt myself, and then somebody was taking care of me. And I was like, oh, who is this person taking care of me? And they said, oh, that's a certified athletic trainer. So I kind of did some research on that and figured out what it was. I went to Wake Forest University and I played field hockey there. I got recruited to play there. But I only played a year because I wanted to get into the sports medicine program, and you couldn't play a sport and be in the program. So I I played for that year, and then I started working in the athletic training room there at Wake Forest, and got to work football. I got to work men's basketball. I was the first female ever got to sit on the bench with men's basketball. And at that time, Wake Forest was decent, and we were good. And it was really fun to do. And then I went on to grad school. I got my master's degree at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. So I did that as well. And then, I married this man from Marietta, Georgia. So I said, well, I'm going to go down there and find myself a job. So I did. And it happened to be really originally it was with North Cobb Orthopedics. So the team physicians, Dr. Colquitt, Knox, Gibbons, Henderson, Chappius was there when I started. And they hired me originally, and I was working out of their offices and going out to Marietta. And I did that. Coach Wood was there, and all that. That's when it started. And so I was kind of working for them, and I only was supposed to go out to Marietta just every so often. I went every day. I thought when I graduated from grad school, I was like, I really want to get into Division I athletics. That's where I want to be working. And but I'll go down and do this high school thing for a little bit and see what, just to pass the time. I don't know. So I go down there and I show up at my first, real football practice, and Eric Zier is the quarterback. And, Amel Jackson is there, and these players that are just phenomenal players. And I thought, well, I think this is pretty good. I might hang around here for a while. So after 2 or 3, I guess it was 3 years, Coach Wood wanted me coming more. He wanted me full-time at the school. Well, in the state of Georgia, there were no full-time athletic trainers that weren't also teachers. So you had to teach full-time and then work all the sports full-time, which was a lot. Mm-hmm. But we had a really good principal, Herb Garrett at the time, and superintendent came in, Ron Galloway, and the school board there decided that they wanted to fund that position. So they funded me a position there. So starting in '93 was my first full-time year. Now I still had been there covering all the sports, I started in 1990. So I had been there. And so I was still, and like I said, I went way more than I was supposed to go. I just loved being there and being on the sidelines with football and really all the sports. I worked all the sports. So it was a lot. But that's kind of how I got there. And then I got there full time, and I was there till 2001, not 2012, but 2001 is when so I was there for 12 football seasons.
Did I say 2012?
Yeah.
Dang. Well, we'll just edit that out there.
Yeah.
Well, I meant to say 2001. I think it was like 01 or 02 had it, but you was there for 12 years.
12 years,
That's what I meant to say then. Yeah.
That's okay.
Right. Well, so when how'd you feel about working with Coach Wood, and what I'm sure it's different being, like you said, you were the first woman and at Wake Forest for the basketball and stuff. And was it different for a woman to be the head trainer at that time?
Yeah, so there was at that time there weren't very many women doing it. Now they were coming on the scene, and there were women out there working. Most of the people that I worked with were men. I mean, most of the athletic trainers that I worked with were men. It's really different now. I mean, very different now. But at that time, it was pretty. It was still kind of a male-dominated profession. So there were some hurdles with that. I had some interesting encounters, in college and beyond with that, but really not really. And at Marietta, I was treated so well. I mean, the coaches were my friends. My world revolved around that school and around the athletics. And I loved what I did. The coaches were so good to me. Coach Friday, of course, just the kindest person and would do anything for anybody. But all the coaches really were fantastic. Like I said, Coach Wood's the one that really pushed for me to get that full-time position there. And I'll always be grateful for that. But it was, there were times where, being the female was a thing, but I didn't really care, and my athletes never cared, as far as I knew. I mean, I just took care of them. I don't remember anybody thinking they couldn't talk to me because I was female. I don't think that was an issue.
Yeah. No, I think, I can speak for us when we were there that, nobody had to tell us to treat you. You were already respected, you helped so many people,
Absolutely.
especially when people would learn about you after getting hurt and you carrying them through the rehab and stuff. And nobody had to be told to respect you or not do this or not do that. That was already in our mindset when we got there, just the encounters with you and stuff like that. So I definitely, I couldn't imagine anybody, especially the players, giving you a hard time or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
Now, we might have gave you a hard time trying to get out of practice and stuff like that. But
I probably gave you a hard time, and I probably said get out of my training room a few times.
Right.
I never told the freshman that, but anyway, yeah.
Since we brought that up, I want to tell a quick story real quick. So in the 11th grade, I had a car accident.
Ooh.
And so it was during football season, so I had it at night. So the next day, I was all bummed out, had messed my car up and all that stuff. I'm like, well, shoot, at least I ain't gonna practice today. I had a car accident last night. So I come in the room and hop up on the table and we're talking, and I'm telling you, I think cracked a couple of ribs, because I went into the steering wheel real hard. And I knew I didn't crack no ribs, but I was sore, but I wasn't hurt. Yeah, so I remember you saying, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" This, and act so concerned. And he was like, "Why didn't you go to the hospital?" And I said, "Well, it didn't hurt that bad." Well, then you can practice.
Yeah.
And that's when I couldn't do nothing but smile and hop down and go get dressed.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't gonna hold people out if they didn't need to be held out. That's for sure. So
Right. No,
sure
but yeah. So tell us, drop some names who you remember, especially as far as working through injuries and stuff like that. Because I know we had a couple of guys on our team that had a couple of serious injuries. I know a couple of like Adam Ross with his knee and stuff like that. I know.
Right.
When I told
Keith Dollar broke his leg. Basketball. So
wait, who's that? Who did you say that was?
Keith Dollar.
That's right. Keith Dollar we was in the gym and his leg was like, it was the weirdest thing I ever seen in my life till this day in person. Like his leg, Evan, like the bottom half was shaped, was turned the other way. Like
and he was just sitting there like wasn't screaming or nothing, and just had that Keith Dollar look on his face.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Right.
Yeah. Keith Dollar. Seems like Anthony Grant had shoulder dislocations and things like that, and maybe I'm not gonna. Was that Anthony Grant that had that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah.
I may not remember all that and all the years and all that stuff, but
but I was just because I remember talking to a male and telling him you were gonna be on here, and he was like, "Man, she did so much for him with his injury and stuff," and you just you're very loved in the Marietta football community.
Well, that makes me feel good.
Absolutely.
My heart. It really does.
Well, you was always easy to talk to. You real personable. You was sweetheart, very nice person. I remember in 8th grade, we didn't have no trainers or anything.
Right.
And I remember, Evan, you remember Coach Sears?
Yeah.
That man rapped. I had hurt my knee playing on the trampoline one day, and I came to school limping. We had a game that Saturday, a 8th grade football game, and that man rapped my knee. He put no pre-wrap or nothing. He just rapped my knee. And see, and we didn't know nothing about that, So that was very eye-opening, coming up freshman year or whatever, or even just when we started playing JV and varsity.
Right, we had to get taped and stuff.
There, and you wrapping taping our wrist and all that. It was like taping the ankles. It was like a totally different. Like we knew nothing about that, So very professional. Then you had a couple of young ladies that
Yes.
was working for you, that was, being helpers, and
Right.
they was taping, you had
Oh
a
yeah.
good system that
No, it was
you
definitely,
brought to
yeah. I
Well,
wanted it to
let's
be
my,
professional.
my
yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So, how did you pick who you was able to help out, and how did you train them and stuff like that, and get them ready for, because when and Larry knows because of his ankle in the game, if you got to get something taped in the game, get back out there. It ain't no time to play around and think, well, am I supposed to go this way or that way? And everybody was always on point and had everything they needed. Tell us about that process.
Well, when I got there, my first thing, there was one student who was helping the team, like you might say, a student athletic trainer, and that was Jennifer Hess, and she was the only one. And we didn't really have a training room. We were kind of in this like large storage closet area that had a table, and that's what I came into. But then we renovated one of the locker rooms and made that the athletic training room. And I wanted a program where the students would learn what we were doing and how to do it, and then they could go on to college if they wanted to, and go through programs there. So that was one of my biggest goals. And so really, I just I think I put signs on the walls. This is before the internet and before you put stuff online. There was no online in 1990. So or not for us anyway. It came a couple years later, but. So, and people would just come, they'd have to fill out an application. I made them get like teacher references, and then, I'd pick them, and I had some real good kids, and we would basically, right after school, all the athletes would come in, and we'd get everybody treated and taken care of. You had to sign in on the book, and if your ankle was sprained, you had to sit down and do your ankle rehab before you could get taped and things like that. And then while there were warm-ups and things going on, during football season, and it wasn't critical to be out on the field, I would teach them. So I would basically run a class in the training room after school, and I would teach them how to tape and basic stuff. They would have assignments on the sidelines of the game. So, you're with the water and you're refilling the water, and you're standing beside me and you're holding my kit. So every quarter they would change jobs, but I would always have someone who was supposed to be beside me and carrying all my stuff. So then when somebody went down, they came with me out on the field. So that was, and that program has grown. I know now there's a ton of students that work at Marietta High School now with the athletic trainer that's there now, who took my place. So, but yeah, I started it with one person, and it grew, and that was a real big part of what I thought was a big deal and really good about being at Marietta.
Yeah, because I know we had quite a few. So you grew it by the time we got there, because we were right behind. We got 94s when we were our first year, or our first year on the varsity program.
Right.
So, yeah, man. That's just crazy. Like taping everybody up, fixing everybody. As soon as we go out to practice, now you're teaching. To get away from the teach, but you still had to teach.
Yeah, but it was still my dream job. It was a dream job in that I was doing what I love to do. And so, and I would flex my hours so that, on football game days, I would do treatments, but I wouldn't start treatments till like 2 p.m. But and Mondays I was there, at 7 a.m. to do treatments after our Friday night football. And I would do Saturday morning treatments if I needed to, but I could control my hours a little bit so you didn't get so burned out, and you could, because I wasn't in the traditional classroom teaching. Now, sometimes I did health units. Coach Wood would have me come in there and do first aid and stuff for his health classes and all, but I didn't have my own classes, and that freed me up to be able to create a very professional, very well-oiled machine as far as covering and all. Again, it's not just football. It was all the sports. So
right.
And, and I mean, I saw some 8th graders here and there that people would bring over, and And I did always give the freshmen a hard time. So again, I apologize if I did that to you, but I gave the freshmen. I said, you don't hit hard enough to be hurt. So you're a freshman. But it was a lot of people in and out of that training room for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so how did you feel about Coach Friday getting the head coaching job after Coach Wood left? Was it easier? Was it different for you?
It was awesome. I mean, he deserved it, and he had a special gift as far as being able to relate to the players and to get the players to give them everything. Remember his speeches? I mean, I would go to the pregame speeches because I would be like goosebumps and the whole 9 yards. So yes, and look, he was my buddy. He came to the training room every day before practice and played solitaire on my computer, and we would have conversations about everything. And he was a very special person, and he had my back. When I had a baby in 1999, yeah, that's when my daughter was born. He and Coach Hood came to my house and painted one of my bedrooms for me to make it a baby's room. I mean, they came to my house.
Wow.
Yeah. And Coach Friday, my husband ran for city council, and Coach Friday put me in his truck, and we drove around and handed out voting flyers, and he just would do, and that was for me. And he was still doing 20,000 other things for everybody else. Terrence Huey and Amel and all the people, that he was so involved with them. And,
that house was never empty. That's for sure.
No, it was he was a special person, and I loved working with him.
Absolutely. Yeah, you talk about those.
He was definitely a different.
Yeah, you talk about those speeches when you can sit there and get a room full of I ain't gonna say boys, I'm gonna say guys that are trying to be men and are walking around being, tough as they can all day long. And then within 5 minutes, you'll go from crying to laughing to ready to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And that's one part he had down packed and didn't need no help in that area whatsoever.
Right. Yeah.
And if anything, if we didn't learn a thing, we was always dialed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, right.
He was real. Did you guys like playing? Because you had Coach Wood and Coach Friday, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we had Wood our 10th grade year.
Coach our junior year.
Yeah, our junior year he became head coach. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was our position coach. So, we got to spend every day with him at the beginning, at the end, or whatever. So it was just something different, and nobody deserved that job more than him. And it was just it's just an honor to say we was the first team to have him as a head coach.
That's right.
And we're always honored to say that, honored to be a part of that, and just to be a little bitty piece of his legacy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's hard you can't overstate it, and the impact that he had on the whole community, and Dorothy and Jamie and everybody, and but the whole staff, the whole time I was there, the coaching staff was phenomenal. I just think that Marietta attracted good coaches. I felt like it was a strong staff all the time, but the coach.
Absolutely.
We've always said we were lucky. We're very lucky. We've Larry's been an official for a while and been around different programs. I coached high school football for about 8 years, and you just don't know. You're always reminded how lucky we really were to have all those coaches.
Yeah.
And the discipline that they had, the knowledge that they had, we were just so lucky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And they included me in everything. And I mean, after football games, some of us would just hang out after we got everything put away and cleaned up. And Ted Gatewood and my problem is I have a hard time to remember. I mean, I know everybody's names, but it's hard to just say.
And it was a long time ago. We don't want to say that, but it was. It was a long time ago.
I know. John Camp. I was thinking about John Camp. Yeah.
Camp,
really, really good. Great guys.
Yeah. Coach Gatewood, we Friday's on the pedestal by itself, but Coach Gatewood, that's what he was one of our favorites. He ain't right, they're about right there. Coach
That's our
Gatewood was
guy.
great. Yeah. So, and hey,
Don't thought.
right. 90% of the coaches I loved that got along and got along great with.
Their hearts were in it for sure. Mike Donnelly, he worked his butt off. Just really hardworking people.
Yeah. Well, listen. So you had your first child in '99.
Yeah.
Okay. So how many kids do we have all together?
So I just have 2. I started late because I had all you boys I was taking care of. I didn't have time for anybody else's kids, right? So, but I was young. I was 25 years old when I started at Marietta, and then so I had my daughter in '99, and then I had a son 6 years later. But I had already moved on. My husband's job is what moved us out of the area, and so that's when I moved on and did some other things. But yeah,
Let's talk about the other things for a minute. So you left in '01. You've already got one child, like you said. Your husband got a new job. How hard was it to leave Marietta High School?
Yeah, that was tough. Because like I said, it's weird because I've had a great career. But really I can't say that anything is as good as those 12 years at Marietta. And look, there's peaks and valleys everywhere you go, right? It's not all perfect everywhere, and it's not all terrible everywhere. And everything has been a blessing. And but so we moved to Florida, and my daughter was like a year and a half. And but they had athletic trainers in the high schools. This was around the Panama City area. But a hospital was paying for them, and they decided to get rid of their program, and all the athletic trainers lost their jobs. So I was like, with my husband's help, I started a company, and I basically got all those athletic trainers to come with me. And I went to the school board. The school board was trying to find a way to get the athletic trainers back, because this happened like 2 weeks before football season was going to start. So I was kind of cocky. I really didn't realize that I did things that probably maybe were hard, but I just decided if I wanted to do something, I was going to do it. So I did. I basically got a bid. So I got it where the school system was paying me to provide athletic trainers to their high schools. So I got those guys to go to the high schools, and I paid them. So it was my company. So I started a company, and my goal was always, we need athletic trainers full-time in high schools. That's where they should be. They should be there for the athletes. And that's the best way to have good health care for these young people who are playing and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so I did that little company, and I ran that for about 4 years, and then we moved again. And then my career took a real big turn. And I started teaching. We moved to North Carolina, and the athletic training jobs there were not as good. You could not work in a high school unless you were a full-time teacher. And that's like having 2 jobs for the price of 1. So I got a job in a community college teaching health. And I just started teaching, but I was also providing some athletic training services for their athletics. So I stayed in it that way, loved that job. In the meantime, had my son. So I have a son, Eric. And
Eric.
Yeah. Now Natalie you guys were already gone, but when I was at Marietta, Natalie came with me to the training room all the time. I had a crib there for her, and the different coaches and teachers would just come in and take her and carry her around. So she was always, around, and that was kind of cool. Anyway, and one thing I wanted to say before, when we were talking about Marietta and when I was helping with the athletes, especially Adam Ross made me think of it, but things have changed a lot in the athletic training world. But then I would put kids in my truck, in my Jeep, and I would take them to doctor's appointments. I took them home with me. I fed them. Ask Tarv Riggin and Amel Jackson and Curtis Lindsay how many times they ate at my house. And I fed them, and I helped them with homework, and I took them home. You can't do any of that anymore. You can't put somebody in your car now and drive off. So those are some things that are precious to me too, about the way things were and how it was a family. You can say it and people don't believe it, but it was a family and we all took care of each other.
Right.
So that's one of those cool things that I liked. But I started teaching. I did community college work. My husband's job was in city government, so he kept moving. We kept moving around. But at this point, we're in North Carolina. But I kind of landed in where I started teaching in middle and high schools, and I just retired in June from teaching high school. I was teaching health sciences and biomedical technology. Still doing some contract work athletic training, but really to have a job, a full-time job and benefits and all, I became a teacher. So I did that for a long time as well, but it still isn't the same as what I did the first 12 years of my career. So but it's been good. It's been good.
So it's crazy to even think you're even close to being old enough to retire.
Well, I'm 61, so I retired early, but that was about all I could take actually of the classroom. So
what are you doing right now? So you're saying you're retired as far as from teaching. So what are you doing like right now? What are we doing?
Well, I haven't had a chance. I just retired in June. And I had an interesting summer. Both of my kids ended up hurting their knees and needed surgery, and then I lost my father in August.
Go figure.
So I haven't had a chance to feel retired yet. So I'm not right now. I'm just retired, and I still have my athletic training license if I want to do some contract work there. But I will kind of reevaluate things in the next few months and see if there's something else, or if I'm just gonna,
just hang out,
go see my kids and do that.
Right.
I mean, I was an older mom, so my kids are still, my son is 19 and in college, so I go see him, and my daughter's in grad school, so I'm still parenting.
Were they athletes or anything? You talking about they hurt their knees? Are they athletes? Are they active?
Well, so both of them played soccer and basketball, and so my daughter played soccer in college. And she was playing adult league soccer when she tore her knee up this past June. But she's 25 now, so she plays for fun. But she hurt her knee. And my son doesn't play in college, but he played at like all those high level youth soccer stuff. He was just playing again in an adult league over the summer and tore his ACL. But they're both doing fine. It was a lot over the summer to handle all that stuff. But
we're definitely sorry to hear about your dad.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
That's pretty ironic though. I mean, a knee injury is never good, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the rehab but it's just ironic how you have a background as being a athletic trainer, and you done help people countless of times rehab knee injuries and different kinds of injuries, and just like, okay, then both of your Natalie and Eric both had knee injuries, and it's like, really?
Yeah.
But the good thing is, with your background, you ahead of the game as far as the rehab, because what it takes and what to do. It's like you have the credentials. You know what you're talking about.
It definitely makes it easier for them. I could say, no, do this, do that, whatever, and they go to their own places to get their rehab and stuff. But yeah, my daughter says that all the time. Like if we didn't know what was, she'd be way behind if I wasn't there helping her.
They were probably telling the doctors, they were like, no, my mom said this. And
I know. I tell them not to do that. I tell them not to do that.
And let's just be honestly, secretly, since they're off to college and grad school, you probably loved it, going to travel and going to be with them, even though they were in pain.
Yeah, I'm glad. I was grateful. I was grateful to have the time and to know I wasn't going back into the classroom in August when all this stuff was going down. So
if they were going to blow their knees out, they did it at the right time.
They did it at the right time. So I was available. Right. That's right. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Good
Well,
stuff.
I want to tell you, it's so good to have you on here. It's so good to see you. You know, when me and Larry started this thing, we had a little short list, and you know, of course, we're telling everybody that's on here now because we're doing the short list. But we was like, we got to have Kelly on. We got to find Kelly.
Yeah.
You know, so shout out to your husband for answering the phone number that I found off the internet. You know, I know you don't have social media, so but I'm sure when people see this, people are gonna want to reach out and anything. So we'll sell your phone number for about $2 a piece.
There you go. There you go. Make some money. No, you feel free to share any of my information. That's fine. I just don't do social media. So
And sometimes I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But
probably none of us should do social media.
it's turned into something that's not good. That's for sure.
Whew.
It could be for good, but
well, we're anxious to see what happens to what goes on for your future. And I'm sure you have some going on, or just might have some grandbabies coming one of these days. So, because they might not wait as long as you did. So
that's right. They might not. Yeah, they might not.
Right. So, but you can wrap their ankles when they're little babies and all that stuff.
That's right.
Right. But again, Kelly, we love you. And we appreciate you and all the things that I don't even. It's no words that we can tell you. Just from way back then and just now, just we appreciate you. Everybody that's going to watch this is going to have some kind of memory of you, of taking care of them, or just interactions and stuff. So we owe it to everybody that watched this to get you on here and just give you your flowers. While we want to give people flowers while they're still here, and not wait till later. And you know, one thing that I do want to say is I do believe that Coach Friday's watching all over all of us. I do believe he'd be proud of us and give us a thumbs up. And we miss that guy, love that guy, and I think he'd be proud of you, and I believe he's proud of us. And again, we love you, and we just thank you for being on here.
Well, I can't tell you how honored and humbled I am that you asked me to do this and remember me at all and all that. All of you guys made a profound impact on me, and I love you with my whole heart. So I just, and anybody that I saw a bunch of people at Friday's funeral, and that was really special, and got to talk to a lot of the guys. So it was good, but I just really am so grateful that you guys reached out, and I'm glad I could do it.
Absolutely. Well, bro, you got anything left to say before we cut it off?
Well, it just, just again, we're trying to give you your flowers. I know you said, it's like, it's great that y'all remember me, but it wasn't even a doubt. You was a fan favorite. Like, we all loved you. Like I said earlier, you're very approachable. You was easy to talk to, but you took your job seriously, but you wasn't a drill sergeant. I will tell you one quick story though. Senior year, I had a high ankle sprain. And I remember going through that rehab trying to get back.
Yeah.
And the stem on my ankle, you put the stem on my ankle and then put my ankle in a ice cold bucket of water.
Yes.
I was freaked out by that. I was like, "Oh my goodness, what's gonna happen here?" And, just the sensation of the stem, and I don't know, that was something. That was something.
Yeah.
But I remember that rehab trying to get back.
That's a tough injury.
It was a high ankle sprain, so it'll take like maybe 3 to 4 weeks, really.
It's a bad one. Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, well, that's funny. That's what you remember, but yeah, I used all of I could to try to get you better. But that's a tough injury. And senior year is not a good time to have an injury, right? But,
right.
No,
absolutely not.
Well,
listen, again, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We hope to talk to you again. And like I said, we got an email address, got a phone number. You got the money, we got the numbers.
All right.
Thank you so much. Bruh, that was crazy.
Yes, sir.
Man, good to see Miss Kelly, man. Like I say, it's been forever. And hey man, it's been another episode of Marietta Football Legends. We got a ton of people that want to be on here. We're trying to work out times and dates. We got some great men coming on here, man. Good ball players, former Marietta Football Legends. So we're looking forward to keep doing this. And hey man, it's welcome to wrestling, but it's Marietta Football Legends.
Welcome to wrestling.